Hi, I'm Charles from Foxit Software. Recently at Educause 2024, I had the amazing opportunity to sit down with some of the brightest minds in education technology. I asked them about the challenges, the opportunities, and the big ideas driving the future of EdTech, from AI to digital transformation and beyond. In these quick interviews, you'll hear directly from educators and thought leaders who are shaping the future of learning. They shared incredible insight on how technology is changing the landscape of higher education and how tools like Foxit are playing a part. I hope you find these conversations as inspiring and thought-provoking as I did.
Hi, I'm Steve Athanas. I'm the Deputy Chief Information Officer at UMass Lowell in Lowell, Massachusetts, and I've got responsibility for basically our IT infrastructure on campus and in the cloud.
What emerging technologies do you think is going to have the biggest impact on education between now and the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I think if you put 100 people in this seat and ask that question 100 times, you'd get 99 people who would say AI and one person who lives under a rock, right? So we've been talking about AI for years, and it's meant different things over the span of the time we've been talking about it, right? It was like, oh, AI, it's really good at chess, right? Like back in the Casper updates, they're like, right. Oh, AI, it's big data analytics. And like now it's AI, it's creative, right? And nobody was thinking, hey, this is going to disrupt huge areas of the economy until that last one, right? Because until recently, the purview of creating content was exclusively a human enterprise, and it's not anymore. And so what we're going to see is taking what I think is, in a lot of cases, stuff that is table stakes or boilerplate now, or stuff that's frankly really boring things like, oh, we're sending form letters out to our customers, right? Or, oh, like, how many emails a day are you like, delete, 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 delete? But what if they were personalized to you, right? What if you could personalize it? Everybody talks about mass customization. Well, this is how you do that in the digital space. You can mass customize content to, in the university setting where I am, to donors, to prospective students, to alumni, and have something really targeted that's bespoke to them that looks and acts and feels like it was written by a human being who knows them, but in actuality was, there's a letter, there's a letter, there's a letter, right? So I think that's going to have huge transformative impacts on efficiencies, automating things that used to take human brain, bandwidth to do. Now, I'm in education, so, for any professors watching, like, are students going to use it? Yes, right? But 25 years ago, you were cheating if you brought a calculator to a math exam. If you look at any math professor now, they're like, where's your calculator? Like, leave and go get it, right? So this technology is here to stay, and it's going to change how we teach. It's going to change how we assess, and it's going to change how we prepare our students to go out in the world and make a life for themselves.
My name's Andy Ott. I am the Client Services Director for UW La Crosse, part of the UW system in Wisconsin.
What is your take on the role of generative AI tools in assisting educators and students? Friend, foe, for or against?
I think generative AI is a good tool if used cautiously, right? There are advantages to using it. It is a time saver. I have used it myself in the past with some things, but it's also a double-edged sword, just like anything, right? You've got pluses and minuses. So if we're relying on the tool to do all of our work, then we're not gaining anything, right? We're just letting the tool do our job. So why do we have the position? I think it's a great place to start. I think AI has a long ways to go to become much more reliable, much more clear, much more usable. But I also think we're trying to set up guardrails as far as where we're going with it, what we're trying to do, and what we're trying not to do with it, being cautious about the moves.
All right, so tell me, what skill sets do you think are going to be important for students graduating in the next decade?
I think those have changed over the years. In the past, we've talked about communication, soft skills, those kinds of things. And I think those are still important. But there's also the technical knowledge that we assume a lot of these students coming in sometimes are digital natives and they know a lot. My experience working with the help desk, sometimes they don't always know. So there is a gap there. So there are those students that know a lot about the technology that they're using, but there's also those that are I don't want to say left behind, but are still struggling to figure out how to use some of the basic things. So there's soft skills, but then there's also the technical skills that I think that are very, very important that future employers are looking for.
Off script, do you think schools are actually equipped for that?
No. So I have the benefit of, we have 3 colleges in the town that I live in. We have a community college, university I work for, and then a private university. The community college still teaches things like Excel, Word, and PowerPoint, and university does not. We have moved away from that. We've made the assumption that a lot of students don't know how, or already know how these things work. And a lot of students come in using Google tools or cloud-based tools, and they don't know how to use always the Word-based stuff because it's a transition. So there's a gap between high school and our college, at least, that I've noticed. But there is also the students that just don't get it. Sometimes they don't understand, why do I have to multi-factor, or why do I have to sign into this, or why do I have to do it this way? And so there is that gap, and I think, at least from my viewpoint, some public colleges, they make that assumption and they don't always get that far.
Hi, I'm Scott Finkeldye. I work at Kansas State University, and I'm the Director of Academic and Student Technology Services. So my role in IT is to focus on ensuring the success of our teaching faculty and the tools that the students use to interface with them in the courses. And a lot of our challenge nowadays is built around the idea that we have a lot of people that have hoed their own row. We're, a Midwest agricultural institution, so everybody wants to bootstrap everything themselves and grab baling wire from the barn. And I often say we've been successful in spite of ourselves. We have a lot of great things happening, but it's not coordinated and it's not organized strategically. So one of the things that we're trying to do is make higher level strategic decisions and help our institution understand that there's value in not having 9 solutions for the same thing. And even though they might feel that they need a unique solution, we can probably find a good choice for our institution and flatten the complexity that we have a lot of. Our number one thing our students tell us is their experience in every course is different. They take a test on a different platform when they go from business to arts and sciences to agriculture, and they use different tools to chat or interact. And so it's a confusing and complicated landscape, and it doesn't need to be like that. What do I think is one of our biggest challenges when integrating those digital tools? I really think that's it, that we have a lot of options already on the table in a legacy standpoint. People are more confused, not less confused, and people don't even know the choices they have at our institution. So we need to be able to create an impact by deliberately making a strategic choice, training people on it, educating them on it, make it clear what the options are and how it works. So I think our biggest challenge is we just have so many options on the table that it's not effective.
Right. When you have 5 math teachers who all did the same
That's
thing,
right.
they all went and got their own tools. Now
That's
nothing
right.
is standardized.
That's right. And so that is our challenge, is to integrate our digital tools effectively, but do it more strategically than we have.
Do you think that this is a common problem for education?
I do. I think that a lot of folks, especially in pockets, have that. I think about states and institutions like the University of Michigan system or the Indiana system. They're very good at having stuff bubble up and have real meaningful conversations across their enterprise, and then making a strategic decision for everybody and making that work for everybody. But a lot of other states like Kansas don't have that central command and control, and make a lot of those pocket decisions. So the business college wants to do this, the vet college wants to do that.
Right.
And they know what they need, so we let them do it and they administer it themselves. But then the student experience and our costs and our ability to support those things across all these unique spaces complicates our ability to provide service. So I think that is the biggest challenge that I see, is that there's so many tools out there and there's so many choices, and everyone agrees that it's a good goal to have a good strategic single choice and to do that well, but getting there is getting people to give up their tools and getting to the next step. It's hard.
Right. What are some of the challenges that educators and students face when working with digital documents? And is there a way that PDF tools could help?
So I think that a lot of our instructors, especially at that individual instructor level, think that converting some piece of content to PDF is a magic bullet. If I made this PowerPoint slide, or I made this Word document, or God forbid, we have people that still use WordPerfect for some reason because they love it so much, and we say, turn them into a PDF at least so the students can, by golly, get the document at a minimum.
Right.
But they also, I heard that if I make it a PDF, it'll be accessible, at the barest level. That's all they know. So I think one of our challenges that a lot of people have overvalued what a PDF really is. But at the same time, tools like yours and a lot of other tools do actually add that value, but we haven't done a good job of educating them as consumers about what that really looks like and what we have to do or they have to do to be successful there.
Right.
So again, like I said, a lot of them just converting to PDF, going to Word and hitting print to PDF, then they're done. They've done everything they need to do. And we want to help them understand that making accommodations not only benefits students that have a specific documented need, but of course also benefits anybody that just has a complicated day going on or something, right? And PDFs, I think, are a particularly good vehicle for folks that say, we have a lot of military students, for example, at our university, because we're right next to the second largest training base in the United States. And so we have a lot of military students that need to consume content in ways that are not like an 18-year-old that's going to sit on their couch with a laptop and read it or not read it for an afternoon, right? They're listening to them on headphones in a tent with 9 other guys in the 1 hour they get an internet connection a day, for example, right? So they need to be effective and efficient, and PDFs are a great vehicle for that in a lot of ways. They can be manipulated, they can be managed, they're portable in ways that a lot of things aren't, etc. So again, my answer to that question, I think, is that the challenge is that a lot of people understand and know PDF and think that they're doing the right thing by simply making a PDF, but it's the additional steps that add the real layer of value that they're looking for. And as a service provider and as an institution, we need to figure out how to better educate them and provide a service that allows them to do that. Again, like adopt a tool that just plugs in and they can press the button or whatever,
Right.
Then to try to explain to them all the depth and detail of how to get there, right? Again, a turnkey piece of that puzzle is what you're going to need to get 1,500 teaching faculty across disciplines to all agree that we can have the same solution. So I think that's the challenge I would identify.
I'm Kevin Clavon. I'm the Director of IT at Augustana University in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Generative AI, it's on the rise. How do you think universities can best use it to enhance the learning experience and prevent misuse?
I think what our university is doing, what Augustana is doing, is actually tackling that question pretty well. We've put together a committee, an AI at AU committee that's asking that question and has developed policies that cover the campus as a whole, and they have example policies that faculty can put in their syllabi so that they can very specifically address how to use AI in the classroom, whether they can use it, they can't use it, how they can use it, and some of the ethical aspects of that. One of the things that I find kind of interesting about AI in general is that it's following a lot of the big technology splashes that we've seen historically, where something big hits,
Right.
and everybody jumps on that bandwagon. Every company out there says, we've got this new technology in our product. We've always had this technology in our product, or whatever. And AI is the same way. They're like, let's just slap AI on our product name. We're blah, 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 AI power. And so everybody jumps on the bandwagon. But now, in the example of AI, what ends up happening is they're finding that, I can very specifically use this tool for this aspect of what we do. And so then they become very focused and they develop the technology for their primary focus. And AI is following that. That's kind of what every big flash in the pan does, is it finds that little focus area and says, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to do it very well. And now we're starting to see AI do the same thing. We want to focus in on AI that works well with writing and language, and we want to do AI that works well with understanding various models. I can't think of a good example there, but various models, and they start to focus in on using AI in that very focused area. And I think that, kind of circling back to the question, that's kind of where universities and Augustana is going, is where we see that we can focus in very specifically on using AI for this task. This is how we can help improve processes both within the classroom and on campus as a whole, within all the different departments that we have on campus.
Have you actually seen much misuse of the AI?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's anything. You give somebody a chance and they'll play around with it and they'll use it one way or the other. And some people are very good at spotting that, oh yeah, that's AI, or you're using it here and you're not supposed to. It's kind of interesting when you think about, some people, they can use it like the voice AI. I saw a presentation talking a little bit about cloning a voice the other day, and the person that leads our AI at AU committee, he plays around with a lot of the voice AI stuff as well. And one of the things I would probably do, if I were a high school student, I would do this. To college, it doesn't matter as much. But I'd say, this is what my mom sounds like. I'm going to have her call into the school and leave a message and excuse me for the day. I'd be skipping every day. That's what I would be doing. So
I feel like they did exactly that in Ferris Bueller's Day.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So
Awesome.
anyway.
Thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
I'm Luke Rosenberger, and I'm the Digital Accessibility Officer for UT Health here in San Antonio.
What is one piece of advice you'd give institutions trying to stay ahead of the digital transformation in education?
So my piece of advice would be to kind of broaden the understanding of what inclusive design looks like and bring it in much earlier into the process. I have a poster here talking about the idea of shifting left and making sure that accessibility is being brought into the consideration much earlier in IT projects. We have a bad habit, and unfortunately there's been some conditions that have led us to leave accessibility to the end of projects.
I've seen that.
Work projects, and then at the very end, maybe do testing. If, at best, do testing before release. Sometimes, it gets released, and then we start getting the feedback about the accessibility, or worse yet, we get the lawsuits. And so the opportunity here, and part of what the poster is about, is, especially with us who are public sector education, we have some new rules and standards that are the Department of Justice is saying that we need to address, right? So in the past, accessibility under Title II of the ADA was not very well defined. Now we have new rules that say exactly what technical standards we should be targeting. And the benefit of that is it helps us with that shift to the left, because we can take those technical standards, make them part of our project requirements, and actually set checkpoints throughout the development process to make sure that from architecture to design to build to unit testing to system testing, we're actually taking accessibility into account at all of those stages. The benefit is, if the earlier we push it, the less expensive, the less costly, and the more effective our outcomes are going to be.
Right. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You go through all the work and then test and then realize you're going to have to go back.
That's
sometimes
the
at
worst
very
case.
beginning.
That's the worst case scenario and the most expensive scenario. So, yeah.
I appreciate this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks.
My name is Lisa Romo. I work at UTSA with the College of Education and Human Development. I am an IT associate, and I've been at UTSA for 17 years.
Well, what is the best example that you've seen of technology truly making a difference for students or teachers?
I would think that the introduction of AI, because I know it's still pretty new with it, and we just introduced Microsoft Copilot at the university. And so I work with a lot of faculty who are on the campus, like different school districts from K through 12, and they're wanting to know, okay, what can we use AI for in the classrooms? And so I did like a basic tutorial with one of the faculty. And she wanted to see like, well, how can I use it for younger students? It's like, well, maybe we could do a story time idea to where maybe, let's say it's a story of a dog and a cat, and you can use that option to create a storyline with it. You can use Microsoft Copilot, it's like the AI option, to create pictures with it. And you can be very specific with the type of pictures that are created. And you get like 4 different options with that just dependent on the story. And I believe that she was actually very excited to utilize that within her classroom, and they're like probably at 3rd or 4th graders, to get them to kind of talk about it, create their own story, and then utilize the AI version of it, like use like those kinds of tools into their classroom.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I love hearing that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so imagine this. If you were a student today, which digital tools or apps do you think would be an absolute game changer for your educational journey?
At the time, definitely the phone apps. I kind of wish that, at least when I was in school, that I had a smartphone, but at that time when I was, they were just basic Androids, like Nokia Gold phones. So I think at that time, I kind of wish we had the apps available to us, because I know we utilize our phones a lot, but it's also good for different purposes as well, with like, let's say campus alerts, if there was something happening on campus, or maybe campus announcements for student events, or even for sporting events as well. To where, like I said, like at that time when I was in school, we didn't have any of that. So I would have loved to have had that now. So
That's not what I was expecting to hear.
My name is Esther Martinez. I work in COVID IT in the College of Education and Human Development at the University of Texas at San Antonio.
What is the best example that you've seen of technology truly making a difference for students or for teachers?
So I work with students firsthand, and I work in a loaner program. So what I do is I check out equipment to students, and I've seen technology make a difference in me loaning out equipment to students using Swivel, right? And what happens is a Swivel robot records students, and they can basically show that to the teacher real time, and teachers can observe the students at the same time. So I think that's something that's really cool and collaborative, and it's made a difference for clinical teachers in our College of Education.
That's very cool.
It's something new that we've been doing, but yes.
All right, well, going away from robots and over to PDFs,
Okay.
which is maybe not as cool as robots, but still.
Okay.
How do you see the role of PDFs evolving in higher education, especially in terms of collaboration and accessibility?
Okay, so during the time of COVID, I feel like I did something good with PDFs, as in, so in the loaner program that I run, I have to have students sign certain forms on loaning and their terms and all that. So what I had to do was basically, I use a Zoom call. I have the student tune in, and using Zoom, I open a PDF. I share my PDF, and I grant the student remote control, and they're basically able to sign forms on a PDF real time. So I'm going through the forms, reading them, and they're signing as we go. And that way they learn about the terms and conditions that they're basically signing off on before they get a loaner.
I like that, as opposed to just assuming that they're going to read the full terms and conditions.
Correct.
You can explain it to them.
Correct. Yes. And that's how we integrate, at least that's how I use PDF in our loaner program.